Welcome to the Tony the Prophet channel for week 3. Week 1 was good, but last week was a bloodbath. The dogs are barking underdogs last week. 7 underdogs, 1 outright. Okay, the Jets were the first team on Thursday night. They were a 6+ point favorite to actually win a game. Teams that were favored 6+ points in the first 2 weeks were 0-8. So, the reasons for this is that teams don't play anybody in the preseason. These first few games, they're getting their feet wet and actually getting the starters in there, and it takes them a while to adjust. So we move forward to week 3 and hopefully give you some winners. The first game I like is Baltimore -1. It's been a half. And maybe it'll get to even. But why do we like Baltimore? We like Baltimore because Lamar Jackson is 20-1 versus the NFC. They played the NFC East this year, so playing Dallas. This is our first chance of 4 games. And again, I go by innocent till proven guilty. We ride the trend until it's not a trend. Last week we found out that Dallas at home, they were 16-0 going into that game at home the last 2 years, and they lost. They got smoked by the Saints. So the other trend is that if Dallas doesn't get a lead, or at least the game's even, they get killed. You witnessed that game, and you witnessed the playoff game when they played the Packers. It was like 21-0 before you got the seat warm on the couch. So I like this game 27-23, 27-20, 30-20, somewhere in there. Baltimore will win, and we'll take the trend. The next game I like is Chicago +1. Why do I like Chicago? Gus Bradley is the worst offensive coordinator in the NFL. This guy makes no adjustments. They're 32nd against the rush, okay? And he just sits there in the second half, and he does his cover 3 or whatever, and they run wild against it. They're 32nd against the run, and Caleb Williams, so he hasn't been playing well. He doesn't have to pass much, so they can run the ball. They have 3 good running backs, and that's why I love the under in this game, 44. I don't know how it's even that high. But anyways, I've got it like Chicago 20-17, 20-13, Indy can't get out its own way. Richardson's only played 6 games. He can't get the ball to playmakers. He turns it over, and nobody open. He runs, gets tackled. So that's the game, 20-17, 20-13. The next game I like is Cincinnati. They should have beaten Kansas City. I don't know what happened the first week. Zach Taylor, it's a horrible coach. He never gets his team ready. He's like 0-2 every year he's been a coach to start the season. You saw that they gave Kansas City a good game on the road, and got 2 picks off Mahomes, and got the penalty early. They should have won that game, but Washington's horrendous. They made Danny Turnover look like Dan Marino. Okay, they give up a ton of yards, and Cincinnati at home, things getting comfortable. Higgins comes back. It's a smash spot. Washington's hapless. And I have this 31-16, could be 34-16, could be more. I mean, you could get a garbage time touchdown or whatever. McLaurin for them, you can't get him the ball. He's invisible. And I just like it. Take the points. I mean, give the points. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about is Pittsburgh. Oh, the other game I like is Buffalo -5. I didn't make it a top 3. Jacksonville. Buffalo's good at home. Jacksonville's been playing terrible. I had some notes. Anyways, they're over here. Sorry. Jacksonville, 27th against points scored against them. 25th against pass yards, 15 rush yards, time on the field 28, number of plays against them 27. So I like Buffalo. Just worries me Jacksonville plays better on the road than at home. 5 points is a lot, so I didn't make it the top one. The other thing I like is Pittsburgh versus the Chargers. I like the under, 34.5. Okay? You get the number one scoring defense in the Chargers, number two in Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh, they like to run the ball, and like the Chargers give up 80 yards a game. So you got Fields, you got Herbert, they might even play, and if he plays, he's going to be hurt. So they're just going to run the ball. Under's 34.5. So what I like to do is tease it up. Tease it up to 40.5. Pick like the Giants. Tease their under up to like 44.5, or you got Tennessee and Green Bay. Tease that up to 43.5, and do the unders. If you do two teams, it's minus 120. Not a bad payoff for something that looks guaranteed. You want a little more risky, you can do the three. You get plus 160. So you can do that. So I like the under in that game. And then we got the MC Hammer games. Can't touch that. Okay, you got Cleveland and the Giants. Cleveland, I don't know about Watson. I think they're going to beat them, but you can't trust them. The defense is good. They should force Danny the turnovers, but we'll see. Tampa Bay and Denver. I was on Tampa Bay earlier. Now I think I like Denver. Tampa Bay only scored 219 yards offense last week against Detroit. Granted, Detroit's a good team, but it's a lot of points to be given. Granted, they're at home, so it's a stay away. Vegas versus Carolina. I like Andy Dalton, but you're going to lay 6 points with Vegas. They do play better at home with Carolina. Can you trust Carolina? They're pathetic. So that's a stay away. Houston, Minnesota, too tough to call. I would lean Houston by a point or two. Houston lost last week by a hook. It's very close. That game's a 1 to 3 point game, or overtime game. Why waste your money? Too hard to call. New Orleans and Philly, I got them at 2.5. I like New Orleans at 2.5. The line's at 3. I think it's a field goal game. Philly may be desperate, even though New Orleans should handle them. Philly give up pass yards, so I don't like that. And I think that was about it. Detroit, Arizona. I like Arizona. I like them at 3.5. Detroit's going to be desperate. They're going to run the ball. Maybe the under, it's 51.5. So if they do the run with Gibbs and Montgomery, the time may go by. I mean, everybody in the free world loves the over 51.5. So, and then we got the smell game. I'll leave you with this. Seattle minus 4.5 versus Miami. They're at home with the 12th man. It's only 4.5. Seattle hasn't been covering. They went to overtime with the Pats, who were terrible. So it's a kind of stay away for me. I think I had a small bet earlier. The line might have been a little less, but maybe it was 4. But, Skylar Thompson, are you kidding me? Seattle should kill him. They don't have the running back. They don't have Walker. Charbonnet, but they got enough weapons. So that's a smell game. They're begging you. Vegas is begging you on their hands and knees to take Seattle. And will you take the cheese? Will you take the bait? Well, if you do, don't lay a lot. So there we go. Here's a redemption. We're coming back. You have weeks like this. It's a brutal game. Too many variables. Not enough data. 2 weeks of data points. Very difficult to establish trends. But we try and we move on. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.